Welcome everyone back to Spoiler Warning, featuring myself, Tom Colohue. We are live on both YouTube and on TikTok today to talk about, well, first and foremost, The Rock. He's making an appearance at Smackdown primarily because he just happens to be in the area and they've got some stuff to announce in New Orleans. We're going to be talking about that first and foremost, but there's also plenty more that we will, of course, be covering. We're going to be talking Shane McMahon, rumours that he wanted to essentially take control of AEW. We're going to talk Jade Cargill's return, now my reporting already being confirmed by PWInsider. We're going to be talking about a certain drug not being banned in WWE where it had been for a long time. Always an interesting one. We're going to talk Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu, reporting already out there now confirming what I said on Monday. Funnily enough, this report came out on Tuesday, so I can certainly have my opinions. And we're going to talk Zack Sabre Jr. currently being out of contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, plenty of quite different stuff that we're going to be going into today on quite a variety of topics and covering quite a lot of ground. What I want to do first and foremost, we have 50 people on the YouTube side already. Firstly, let's get those likes in. Every thumbs up guarantees more people watching the show, and that means growth of this channel. But also, if you're able to, let me know what you're thinking is going to happen with our top story today, because the top story is going to be about The Rock. Why is The Rock there? How is The Rock there? When is The Rock there? I'll give you a hint. It's during Smackdown. But let me know what you think The Rock is going to be doing during his appearance on Smackdown tonight while I catch up with the chat. Tell me it in multiple messages. Tell me it in long and rambling attitudes. Tell me it with questions. I don't care. Let's get the chat rate flying. Let's get the likes flying. Let's hear what you think The Rock is going to be doing today. We have Everton on both the YouTube and the TikTok side telling me what he thinks. Says, hello, Tom. And says The Rock versus Roman announcement, a Cody face-off. So lots of good ideas there for The Rock. Khalid says, great to see you again, mate. Just saw the Wire 6 news. I can't wait for their return. You won't have to wait too long. Don't you worry about it. Spider-Boss is also asking about an update on Carmella, saying according to Fightful, Carmella's deal has expired. So, Juan also asked this on YouTube, so let's go into a bit of detail on this. Much like it was with Alexa Bliss, her time on maternity has led to a point where her contract is near to or expired by the time she's ready to return. So, her intention, particularly given how Alexa Bliss has handled hers, is for a new contract. However, the WWE not necessarily willing to do so. Alexa Bliss is considered a huge commodity and extremely valuable to the WWE. She had a lot of leverage, she had a lot of interest. Because of that, she was able to essentially set her own terms. With Carmella, the WWE will try what they originally did with Alexa Bliss to just extend her contract out. Now, whether or not this will work, we'll have to wait and see. But it is pretty par for the course of WWE right now that they try and keep those contracts going. Right, let's get some news from the YouTube side. Cal says, I believe The Rock will say he's going to be at WrestleMania and will slither his way into the main event of Cody's match. Chris says, I reckon he's there to take out Solo Sikoa. Cal says, Tom, do you think we'll see the Wyatts soon? Yes, reported that in detail. Roy says, Elias showed up at TNA last night. Elias was tagging with Joe Hendry in a tag team match against Primo and Epico Colon, who also made their TNA debut. Elias has signed with TNA. His name is Elijah in TNA. That is correct, yes. At no point did he sign with AEW. Bailey says, Rock is due for some go-away heat. I doubt he'll get it. He's lovely and right-wing. Hello, Marcel. Good to see you, sir. Hello, Chris, as well. Hello, Leon. Roy says, Mash Slamovich versus Cora Jade for the TNA Knockout title. Cool. And Alex says, PWInsider has said The Rock's involvement has made the company pivot away from some things announced for tonight, including 2 matches. Typically, that's a timing issue. Thank you, Aled, for bringing the exact quote there. Typically, there are timing issues. The WWE were not intending to have The Rock there tonight, but he is in the area, which means he can come and make an announcement. If he's making an announcement, they expect it to take about 30 minutes. So yeah, typically, unfortunately, matches lose out. Khalid says, can The Rock give us our dream match, Roman versus The Rock? And Spider-Man says, I think The Rock will talk for a minute and will tease a match with Roman. I certainly agree with both of those. Roy says, Obafemi also showed up in TNA to confront Moose. Sean says, hello, Tom. Irish says, let's go, Tom. Welcome, guys. Rickan says, I think The Rock is just there to announce the next location for WrestleMania. Chris suggests a ratings pop, which I certainly think we are going to see as a result of this. Ishii says, probably the WrestleMania 42 announcement. Juan says, The Rock will just say a nothing burger promo just to pop a rating since SmackDown has been lackluster. I mean, they got 3 hours to film. They're certainly not doing it with Blair Davenport. Eric says, even with 3 hours, SmackDown doesn't have time for Liv and Naomi. Eric, has it been confirmed that that match is going? Has that been confirmed? Mr. Sim says, will The Rock be a babyface or a heel? He did lean strongly towards babyface the last time he appeared. Alex says, The Rock is only there to announce Mania 42 in New Orleans, but I wish he'd tease or straight up set a match with Roman for that show. Sean says, did you know about this or hear about this, Tom? According to Fightful Select, one of Vince's pitches for the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble was to have Ronda come back and eliminate the entire field. No, to my knowledge, that is not true. Vince McMahon was not directly involved in planning for the Women's Royal Rumble in 2022 beyond a late pivot to deciding the winner. Mary says, I don't trust The Rock, which I think is fair. Howdy says, hi Tom, hope all is well with you, and a howdy to you too. Juan says, thank you Tom for more clarification. Would AEW have interest in Carmella? Maybe Mercedes Money versus Carmella for the TBS title. Limited interest in that Carmella isn't someone that many companies believe would add a great deal of depth beyond what they've already got in their women's divisions. She's believed to be pretty much a WWE lifer, and I don't see that changing. Bam says, do you know any details about WWE ID Championship Indie Tournament? Nope, I do not. Drive-by says, smash the likes early. Thank you, Drive-by. We have 37 at the moment on YouTube. 3 more will get us to 40, a nice round number. On TikTok, we're already up to 571. You can double tap and keep that one going. Sid thinks The Rock will announce the WrestleMania 42 location. Bam says, will Evolve have their own championship or not? Still being decided. I suspect they will. Ethan says, hello, Tom. Hello, Ethan. Drive-by says, you mentioned a couple of months ago that WWE did not see The Rock wrestling again. Do you think this is still the case? No, The Rock will be wrestling again. The WWE don't know when he'll wrestle again, but The Rock is planning to wrestle again. He will not retire without the Roman match. Hello, noob. How you doing, mate? Cal says, the Wyatt Six are very exciting. Continuing the Alexa story. I can see them all popping up during the elimination match. Would be cool for them to be in the pods at the end. I don't think that will happen at all. Unfortunately, I think it's unlikely we see the Wyatt Six before we started to build to WrestleMania. We are currently in the process of having them come back to TV, but we are back on the point of, teasing. Ethan says we better get a Rock promo with some story. Pretty much. Bailey says, any news whether Carmella's drop foot condition affected her ability to compete in the future? They do not believe it will affect her ability in the future, but it has affected her for quite a while. Calvin says, hey Tom, could we see Roman confront The Rock? I forgot Roman is on the shelf. Roman currently is selling an injury. He's also, at the moment, he's going to be very angry at CM Punk and Seth Rollins. The Rock does not play into WrestleMania 41 for Roman Reigns. Spiderboss says, according to Fightful, there's frustration in the women's division due to the booking. What women's division? Which company? Which area? Sean says, AJ versus Finn has been discussed for WrestleMania via WrestleVote live Q&A. Question on this one. There was a tease that we saw of AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. There's been a tease that we've seen of AJ Styles versus Bron Breakker. Has anyone seen any tease of AJ versus Finn? Haven't seen any tease of it. Trekkipedia says Rock versus Cena at Mania this year. Who then do you have face Cody? It says Elias said in TNA, who wants to work with Elias? Same as he did in WWE. It's a shame the man can't keep his name. It's a shame. It was a good handle and it was working for him. That is interesting to hear, Spider-Boss, considering there are more women on WWE main roster TV than there have ever been before. If there is frustration, some people need to get over that. Cal says, will Finn ever win again? Yeah. Sean says, Naomi said she won't retire until AJ Lee returns. Good luck to her. And Clyde says, what's good, Tom? And everyone in the chat finally got a chance to catch you live. The Rock will both announce next WrestleMania 42 location in addition to him versus fill in the blank for WrestleMania 41. Logan Paul would be fun. Ethan says, is it just me or is WWE so mid this year it's not as good? I don't necessarily agree. I think a lot of people are of that opinion, yet they hated it last year as well. Wikipedia says people are so sure Rock is going to ruin the Mania plans. WWE and TKO aren't stupid. Clyde has already smashed the like button. 41 so far. Cal says also, Tom, I remember last year you spoke about phases of the Wired Six, and I feel like we're going to see a much darker Uncle Howdy. I don't know why. I think we're going to see how sick they can be. Personally, I think we're going to reset and start again. Don't like it. Do see it. She says, do you see Alexa winning the Elimination Chamber? No. I said on Monday who I have winning the Elimination Chambers. Alexa says, the only thing for AJ versus Finn is AJ faced Dominic on Raw. That's it. Dominic's Dominic. Juan says, Brian Alvarez reported that women's talent are frustrated with TK's lack of production meetings. Thoughts? Why would the wrestlers even be in production meetings? Why would that matter? A lot of crap coming out from people today. Very easily disproven crap. Gal says, how great is Karrion Kross? I am quite enjoying his efforts. Galvin says, Finn Balor and A-Town Down Under have been booked the worst under Triple H. Finn Balor seems pretty happy about it, to be fair. Bear with. Everton says, Rock versus Cena versus Cody. Book it. Don't book it. Cody says, there was no Finn and AJ Styles tease. I didn't see one either. Spider-Man says, what is the endgame of the Who Attacked Jade storyline? That is one of our pieces of news tonight. Everton says, Fatu Tonga and Fatu versus Strowman. Not sure what's going on there. You've corrected it. Solo, Tonga and Fatu versus Strowman. Again, cost. Cost? Spider-Man says, my picks for the Chamber are Bianca and Cena. So the favourites then. So it said the TNA fan was saying to Tessa Blanchard when she was doing a promo, you are racist. Probably because of the racism. And Blue says, hey Tom, TV time only really pays off for good booking. Roman was pushed to the moon for half a decade and it didn't work until his booking improved. To be fair, he did become one of the biggest names in wrestling history. It's only afterwards he became popular, but he was one of the biggest. Trekipedia says, sad to see people are upset Rhea was on a honeymoon. People need to get over that shit. Dad says, big up Tom. Who's next for Motor City Machine Guns? Also Penta. Liked and shared. Appreciate you, Daz. For Penta, I spoke on Monday about the possibility of a match involving Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania. For the Motor City Machine Guns, they're coming back for DIY, but the Street Profits are likely going to be in the way. Sean says, Ricky Stark's new name is Ricky Saints. Do you know why there was a name change? Because the WWE own Ricky Saints, and Ricky Starks is apparently the owner of Ricky Starks. Bam says, do you maybe know the exact role of Gabe Sapolsky? No, not the exact one. Spider-Boss says, happy for Mercedes versus Momo Watanabe 2 at AEW Revolution. Ella says, Liv versus Naomi and Strowman, Priest and Cody versus a Bloodline are the matches that have been changed for tonight. Changed does not mean cut. We'll wait and see what happens there. Carl says, I watched a Bray Wyatt video from about 7-8 years ago now where he said that Bo is incredibly talented. I really hope he gets the opportunity to keep showing it. I enjoyed his vignette work. Sid says, it will be AJ Styles versus Braun Breaker. Kelly, welcome, says, hello Tom, finally made it on time. There is no on time. Whenever you are here, you are on time. You arrive precisely when you mean to. Cal says, I really feel like we're going to see Jacob turn on Solo today and say, I hate you, Solo. And Calvin says, I'm predicting that Ludwig will turn on Gunter if he loses the world title of Jey at WrestleMania. Are they even connected anymore? I'm not sure. Sean says, happy 31st birthday to NXT Women's Champion Julia. And Dominic says, are you going to have a watch party for Elimination Chamber? Yes, indeed we are. We will be live for the duration of the Elimination Chamber. Trekipedia says, had to laugh at people photoshopping the ring for Grand Slam. Haters made it look like a UPS package. Eric says, I thought I saw someone say on Twitter that the match was scrapped. You thought someone. Two things which are not facts. Got to do better. Blue says, Tom, do you think the pushing back in when Mania happens has affected the booking so far? They have 2 more weeks they have to fill. No, not really. I mean, they rebuilt it in January anyway, so. Cal says, a Tom Colohue watch party and lights the fire. Spider-Boss says, I remember you mentioned Ronda was winning the Women's Rumble in 2022. I was the first one to report that Ronda was returning to the WWE. 4 days later, you'll never guess who reported the same behind a paywall. Fightful Select. There's so much evidence. Khalid says, I enjoy your watch-alongs. I'll be there for Elimination Chamber. I appreciate you. So, first piece of news is as regards, of course, The Rock. We've had some guesses and most of you are right on the money. The Rock returns to SmackDown tonight looking to take care of some family business. He opened himself up to a face turn last time he appeared, so I would imagine congratulations are in order for Jey Uso, and I'd imagine that will be part of his promo. He is ostensibly there almost entirely to announce that WrestleMania 42 will take place in New Orleans. That is a business decision. That is as his jurisdiction in the board. That is to pop a rating and to try and get some money coming in. However, there may well be more to it. The Rock is pushing to have an impact on the stories. Roman Reigns is currently unavailable and is not going to be there tonight, to my knowledge, so it will not be any engagement between The Rock and Roman Reigns, but I would be keeping an eye on what's going on with Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. There are many in WWE eager to see The Rock and Fatu sharing a ring together, not least The Rock and Jacob Fatu themselves. Jacob Fatu's star power has reached fever pitch, and The Rock is eager to try and enhance it. I'm interested to see how they try and make that happen. Speculation on my part next, but I would love to see The Rock announce himself as a 7th entrant in the Elimination Chamber match, purely to screw over long-term rivals John Cena and CM Punk. Now, I can't imagine he would succeed altogether. I can't imagine The Rock necessarily wants to be pinned this early in, but I would love the idea of him coming out late in the Elimination Chamber, going real hardcore, and then getting ganged up on and beat down by a team of CM Punk and John Cena. I think The Rock could really pop that rating, could really get people talking, and could really get me excited. Everton seems to like that idea as well. Let me know what you think of the idea, The Rock being added to the Elimination Chamber. We're also on 49 likes on YouTube. One more gets us to 50. Can you be the one? Tommy B has heard tonight Smackdown is going to rock. I like what you did there. Alex says, this is something I wanted to bring up. PWN, that's PW Nexus, which have been proven wrong a few times lately, said Goldberg versus Gunter was no longer on the table. Any truth on that? Still on the table. WWE have other plans. It's not their priority. It never was. Trekipedia says paywall equals desperation. Carl says, are The Rock and Cody just best friends now then? Best friends? No. Frenemies? Yes. Everyone loves a good frenemy. Spiderboss says, I think Roman will screw Seth and Punk at the Chamber. I'd imagine he'd matter at Seth, but Seth's matter at Punk. Lots of things at play here. Lots of things at play. Declan, that was our first piece of news, so you're absolutely fine, don't you worry. Eric says, any news on why WWE is doing a press conference post-Smackdown? Primarily for investors. They tend to do the press conferences not for the fans but for investors. The idea being that they can try and convince people to buy more stock. Makes sense, Matter. I get what you're saying. Blue says, what I mean, Tom, is people expect more stories to have already come together, but there is more time to Mania. They have to spread the booking of the card out. I get what you're saying. And certainly for matches like Punk versus Rollins versus Reigns, they are teasing it a little, trying to keep a Roman separate. So I do get what you're saying there. Calvin says, could there be a chance that the feud between Pat McAfee and Austin Theory be reignited? No. Pat McAfee's trying to help Austin Theory and Grayson Waller be important. Sadly, it's not working out. Not really. Eric says, do you think WWE re-sign Carmella? Depends if she wants to be re-signed. Cal says, going to throw a crazy pick here. I think Priest wins the Chamber. I don't see that one personally. I still think we're going to get Priest versus McIntyre. Rickan says, will Miro be safe for Raw after Mania? No creative has been finalised for Miro as of yet, but he has already signed with the WWE. Ethan says, would love The Rock to be at the Chamber. The Rock equals a better WWE. Spiderboss, we will indeed be talking about Shane McMahon and AEW. Spiderboss also says, I think The Rock will appear after the Chamber ended to beat the winner in a few minutes. Why? Why would that happen? Why? Sean says, WrestleOps announced Tiffany versus Candice on SmackDown tonight. WrestleOps do not report news. They re-report news. I'd imagine WWE announced that. Pink, as regards the Wired 6, I detailed the plans for them on Monday. They are currently re-teasing their return. Kelly says, I'm finding myself looking forward to SmackDown more than Raw and NXT more than both of them. Don't watch much of NXT, but I am more of a SmackDown guy than a Raw guy. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that. Keep those likes coming, guys. Again, didn't say that, Sean. Ray says, will Jacob Fatu be turning babyface anytime soon? Not as of yet, no. Jacopedia said, Tom, have you been enjoying the new WWE NXT YouTube channel? Haven't really been watching it. Gotta be honest. Sean says, if Becky isn't back before Mania, do you see her coming back on the Raw after Mania? I see her coming back soon. WWE have not confirmed when. Blue says, if they are announcing Mania 42 for New Orleans, the press conference would make sense. And it does. Alex says, why couldn't they just have Triple H announce Mania 42? He does all the other announcements. That doesn't pop a rating, and he's not a member of the board. Sean says, is Roxanne an official call-up now? Yes and no. Technically, no. Also, yes. Spider-Boss says, do you think Miro will keep his name in WWE or go back to Rusev? Actively being discussed at the moment. And Dan says, I see Roman has moved to Raw on a silent transfer before it should. Yeah, he moved pretty quickly. Basically, the second Netflix was going, Roman was always going to be there. Cal says, do you think Drew is happy, Tom? Yes. I'm not even going to read the rest. The answer is yes. Roy says, do you like Pat McAfee doing Yeet when Jey Uso comes out? Yes. Yes, I do. Bailey says, was Austin Theory over-pushed under Vince, or that he just doesn't have creative support under Triple H? WWE have pitched a few things, but they don't believe he necessarily can make the impact that they're looking for. Sean says, am I the only one that feels Roxanne is out of place in the chamber, knowing the names she's in there with? No, but that's the point. Tiffany Stratton was that person previously. Triple H likes to throw someone in who's quote-unquote not ready. Declan still misses Becky Lynch. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Ed says, hey everyone, I wish I could stay but gotta get mom home from the hospital. Fair enough, mate. You look after her. Dwight says, Tom, do you think Roman will appear at the chamber to take out Punk and Seth? Nope. I think he'll appear the Raw after the chamber to pick a fight. Sorry, to pick a fight. I've heard good things about NXT, Kelly. It's just that, unfortunately, being from the UK, timing is a bit of an issue. And this, of course, is not my full-time job. So it does become difficult to keep up with things when I'm also working and parenting. Thank you, Sid, for that clarification. Blue says, Blue's cheering for the miracle win for our little chief in the chamber. Little chief. Little chief. It's like Tamatonga. So that's The Rock. Let's talk Shane McMahon. There are rumours now that Shane McMahon, in negotiation with Tony Khan, was looking to take over a large amount of the creative for AEW. This is according to Jonathan Coachman. Now, as regards Jonathan Coachman, this is the fourth time I've reported Jonathan Coachman news, and the fourth time I've had to say, Jonathan Coachman, you are wrong. You are completely talking garbage. As always, as I've had to say numerous times on this, horses, not zebras, okay? A meeting took place. That is confirmed. That happened. Tony Khan asked Shane McMahon to share some insight, and there are some elements of creative that Tony Khan learned from Shane McMahon and put into play. After the meeting, you know what everyone did? Separate and get on with their lives. There was never a moment at which Shane McMahon was actually going to join AEW. He was spoken to as a potential consultant. There was a potential of a long-term consultancy. There was teasing about being on TV. That is not the same as offering someone a contract for your own job. He's not Robert California. Once again, more often than not, in situations like this, it's exactly what it seems. But people are determined to make it something bigger. It's not bigger. It's Shane O'Mac size. And that is all. Spider-Boss says, Gunter mocking fans for Yeet with Jey Uso was funny. To be fair, there's plenty of people that you can talk about as regards mocking the Yeet. For example, Michael Cole. Check out my TikTok if you haven't already, because that's a funny one. Sid says, have you heard Indy Hartwell's new theme music? I have not. Blue says, Roxanne might be the best worker in the chamber. She found something in Raquel we haven't seen for a long time. Can I point out, Roxanne was actually working face there. I'm interested to see if they keep that. Cal says, Jonathan Coachman being wrong go together. Sid is looking forward to seeing Charlotte Flair more than The Rock. I thought you were suggesting Charlotte Flair versus The Rock, which I got to be honest, I'd watch. Thank you, Ethan. Appreciate that. I do when I can, Kelly. I do when I can. It's just difficult. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I, 9 doors down, have my mother as well. She's getting on in the years. So it's a bit of a sandwich that I wasn't ready for, but you do what you can, can't you? You do what you can. Blue says, as soon as I heard the Shane news, I knew Tom was who I needed to wait for. To be fair, as regards Shane McMahon, we've always known. Calvin says, Theory can make a major impact. Triple H is just burying him. Nope. If he was burying him, he'd never be on TV. They'd be doing everything possible to embarrass him. He'd be going down the Zack Ryder route. That's not what they're doing. It's not good. It's certainly not helping him. But it's not burying him. Sid said, how's the blue sky going? I don't use it as much as I should, probably. I can't think of much to actually say. I don't miss Twitter. I don't miss Twitter at all. But blue sky, I'm enjoying it. And we do continue to grow slowly but surely. Alice says, The Rock just posted a tweet of a picture of the watch Cody gave him before Mania 40, captioned, it's time. Well, that will certainly get people talking. Cal says, including Gunter is incredible. Everything he does is just incredible. I do expect him to take a break if he loses the belt at Mania, and I cannot blame him for that. Eric says, watch for the pigs. Nearly the quote, nearly. Spider-Boss says, Michael Cole can't yeet, which is not unfair. Everton says, the Rock and Jacob segment, if it happens, will feed families. Blue says, Roxanne working face on the main roster makes sense considering her size and also her first opponent. Raquel's not going to work face. It just does not work. Cal says, I do wonder when we're going to see Malachi Black. I do think he's going to kick Finn or Dom's head off, or both. I'm really excited. Bobster says, NXT is better than Raw at the moment. Stephanie Vacker amongst the best in the women's division. That is a glowing recommendation from a couple of people now. I hear you. One says, Sean Ross Had the Enemy also reported that a close source to Shane McMahon said he wouldn't count out a cameo. As I say, Shane McMahon is a bit of a piss taker. If he gets the opportunity to take the piss, he might. Tony Khan wasn't that interested. Mr. Sim says, is Shane McMahon a WWE legend? Probably, yeah. I think it's fair to say so. Bailey asks, when was the last real burial on the main roster? And you know what? That's a good question. Under Triple H, there haven't been many people that have been buried. I think the closest would probably be Giovanni Vinci. That was awkward, and then he left. So that was a burial. It wasn't intended when they started it, but it definitely got there. That was a burial. So guys, who do you think has been buried under Triple H? As in, their star power has been legitimately harmed by the decisions that Triple H has taken. Who do you think has been buried? Trekkipedia says, watch the pig, like, share, and sub, please, folks. And yes, please do. If this is your first time here, if you've been here a few times and haven't yet done so, please do hit subscribe. Every subscriber that we have essentially informs YouTube as to who to advertise our show to. So the more people are subscribed to watch, for example, other wrestling content, the more my work is promoted to other people who watch wrestling content. Please subscribe if you haven't. Please like if you haven't. Please chat if you haven't. Or if you want to lurk, also cool. Also very cool. Ethan, I don't go on Twitter anymore. I am not willing to support Elon Musk in any way. I occasionally check my messages on there. That's as far as I go. I don't care enough, you know? Andrew says, I'm excited for The Rock's appearance tonight. Can't wait for an exciting SmackDown. Also, Tom, what's your favourite Rock match of all time? Mine has to be Rock versus Austin. The Rock versus Triple H in the ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam 1998. Easily my favourite match from the show. And that was also my favourite pay-per-view until Royal Rumble 2019, which just top to bottom is an amazing show and I highly recommend it for anyone who hasn't watched it. Trekkipedia agrees that Vinci is being destroyed. A couple of people saying Austin Theory. Cal says, a lot of wrestling fans who hate on everything, like I've noticed people hate the Wyatts, but if there is an injury which has been reported, then of course they're going to keep them away. Bailey says, last burial I can think of was Lacey Evans. Interesting. Cal says, Vinci got the old style Vince burial. James McConville, yeah, right, mate. Says, hey Tom, sorry I'm late. Hope I didn't miss the Wyatt 6 questions. You kind of did, mate. You kind of did. Sorry to say it. Dan Sharp suggests carrying Cross at the moment, which I do think is worth mentioning because he came in House of Fire and he's just lost momentum until now finding his groove again. Spider-Boss says Bayley and Damage Control in 2022, 2023 taking L's often. Yes, but the end result of that was Bayley versus Io Sky at WrestleMania. So while they did take losses, they very much got their heat back. So I'm not that concerned by it. Trekipedia says Vince got destroyed like Frieza when he faced Goku. Interesting. Noob says Damage Control, or better yet Kabuki Warriors, they better yet buried themselves. Cal says we've never seen John Cena. Is that technically a burial? We keep getting told he's a legend. This is an interesting thing from WWE. They still haven't debuted the guy, and yet apparently he's retiring soon. It's very confusing. Very confusing. Alex says Joe Hendry called John Cena out again last night. Of course he will. People talk about it. And Chris thinks Braun Strowman is being buried. Lots of injuries, unfortunately. Lots of injuries. Mr. Sim says The Rock versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 17 is my favourite Rock match. Ethan says I don't like Elon Musk as well, but I like the Wrestling Days community on that. And that's fair enough. I'm not going to tell anyone how to be. I'm not going to tell anyone to get off it. All I'm going to say is that I personally have decided not to continue on Twitter. I just don't want to. We've mentioned that already, Everton, on the YouTube side. Spider-Boss says, do the Judgment Day count? Yes and no. I mean, they're featured pretty heavily, and Dominic Mysterio is one of the biggest names in wrestling at the minute. Ishii suggests Final Testament got buried, which I actually think is probably a fair comment. You guys are making some good points. Kel says, call me nerdy. I bought the Wyatt masks. I'm a super fan if you couldn't tell. Razar says, Elias, once Triple H took over, got buried. KO attacked him and was never seen again. Can I just say, Elias at least had an interesting storyline, and Kevin Owens did everything he could. Things just didn't work. Gal says, what the hell was that clip of Jade's attack on Friday showed nothing. I do think Naomi attacked her. Tommy B says some wrestling fans on Twitter are wild, which is very true. Calvin says at least Triple H is not making superstars go out on TV and do beyond degrading things like Vince did. Remember what Vince did to Trish Stratus in 2001? Sadly, yes. Yes, I do. Carl says, I'd like to see Jade have a run at the US title. And Ethan says, I do respect your silent protest against Elon, though he's weird. He is very strange. And I don't support almost anything he does, has done, or will ever do. And as I say, I don't watch the Saudi Arabia shows either. I'm not going to say anyone's a bad person for choosing to watch them. I just choose not to myself. Bailey Damien Sandow was definitely way before Triple H's time booking. And Spider-Boss still thinks it's Bianca who attacked Jade. Jade Cargill is next piece of news. So, PWInsider have now confirmed my reporting that Jade Cargill's return is imminent. She should be kicking into gear, and the storyline should be kicking into gear post-Elimination Chamber, where both her former tag team partners are in play, but only one is in contention for WrestleMania. The original plan for WrestleMania did involve Jade Cargill versus a heel Bianca Belair. However, the WWE, over the course of the tag team of Cargill and Belair, started to consider the possibility that maybe it should be Jade Cargill turning heel, and then essentially decided, you know what, we need a breather here, and started this injury storyline. What Jade Cargill has been doing while in this injury storyline is not resting, it's practice, it's training, and it's rehearsals. The WWE believes she needs to continue practicing, and the WWE will continue to make her practice. So that's the plan, that's how it's going. As regards WrestleMania, whoever did attack her, there's lots more to come. I pitched on Monday the idea of her and Naomi in a tag team, while Bianca competes against Rhea Ripley, with plenty more to come should they lose in that match. Erin says, started the episode late, so starting from the start, wanted to say hi Tom, hi chat. Hi Erin, good to see you. Mr. Sims thinks Dana Brooke was buried. Andrew Quinn says apparently Marvel are looking at The Rock to potentially play Apocalypse in the MCU. Why? Because his work in superhero movies has been great, yeah? Declan thinks Becky Lynch has been buried under Triple H. He's hardly been there, mate. Azrael says, any news on Uncle Howdy? Nothing that I haven't already reported. And Cal says, hopefully Jade gets her confidence up. She's so talented, I don't think she's going to have a great career. Spider-Boss says, Jade should have been heel since her debut. Peak Jade in AEW was heel Jade. I don't think even Jade was actually treated as a heel in AEW by the fans for long. She was pretty popular, and I can't really blame them. She is a power player. Blue says, Rock is somehow going to star in a Scorsese movie. I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get how he's so successful at acting when you consider that he can't act. And yet in Tooth Fairy, He really did. Cal says, The Rock is not giving us a WrestleMania match so we can shoot his awful films. It's absolutely devastating. Kelly says, gotta run, Tom, but I'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. You too, Kelly. You have a great time, and I'll see you later. Next news is as regards drugs, and this is one I don't really talk about a lot, but Michin of WWE has now confirmed something that's been reported for a while, that marijuana, weed, is no longer banned in the WWE. It is considered a drug that people can use recreationally and for pain. Drug tests do find it, but they do not get punished for it. It is not a violation of the wellness policy. Now, this isn't necessarily news, as both Matt Riddle, who previously worked in WWE, and Randy Orton, who currently works in WWE, have been very open about their usage. In fact, when I asked about this, I got a very funny line. Some in WWE believe Randy Orton wouldn't be injured as much as he is right now if he still had his favourite supplier with him. Just throwing that out there. That did make me laugh. So yes, it's now considered free use in WWE. Calvin says, don't know if anyone remembers, Eve Torres once had some SpongeBob and Patrick inspired ring gear. I don't, but I'm interested in looking that up now because that would be funny. Cal says, I'll drop my controversial opinion. I don't think we'll ever see Cody turn heel. And that's not controversial. I've been saying that for a while. Blue says, early Rock was a decent actor. He tried more, got out of his comfort zone. Since he became a proper movie star, right off a cliff. Jumanji did it. He's never recovered. Spider-Boss says, Rock did Baywatch. Nobody watched. I watched. I thought that was quite funny. Everton says, craziest story WWE going with for Gunter at Mania is about to be 0-2 in singles matches. I like that. He needs to stop competing at Mania. One year he's going to skip it just so he doesn't lose a championship. I think that'll be funny. Trekkipedia says, people saying Michin is being buried. She's not. She's posting on Instagram that she's happy with WWE. It doesn't sound like a burial to me. Once again, she's on TV a lot more than she used to be. Calvin says, I'm shocked that superstars are allowed to use that. Certain areas it's legal, certain states it isn't. We'll see how long that lasts. Cool. Thank you, Eric. Blue says, you're right, that 1-2 punch of Jumanji in the Fast series. Yeah, that was awkward. Cal says, Gunter is going to be getting that Big Show WrestleMania record. Wouldn't that be funny, though? If he's constantly winning championships, he's constantly a champion, he's considered one of the biggest winners in wrestling, and yet he has the biggest losing streak in WrestleMania history. That would be brilliant. I'd like that. Trekkipedia says, do you see Keith Lee returning to WWE ever? No, not really. I unfortunately think his health issues are more extreme than has been let on. Cal suggests Tiffany Stratton should be champ forever. You would get bored of her, I promise you. Once Dave Meltzer has reported AEW moved Double or Nothing from Las Vegas to Phoenix because WrestleMania was going to drain their fans out since it's a month earlier than Double or Nothing. That isn't quite how that works. Dave Meltzer's really turned on AEW now, hasn't he? Carl says, can someone win the US belt off Shinsuke? What a terrible reign. Or could he just get better? Chris says, Gunter to have the opposite to the Undertaker streak. Wouldn't it be funny though? Every year at WrestleMania he comes in with a championship, and every year he faces someone, they're like, and I'm guaranteed to win. You're not going to win. You lose every Mania, mate. I'm going to win. Eric says, I thought Asuka was kind of like the Big Show Mania record. Yeah, she had a rough one. Trekkipedia says, makes sense, Tom, though I could see him being a trainer or coach if he wanted to. Spider-Boss says, Dominic is not free at WrestleMania, the opposite of Taker. That is a record not worth competing for. WrestleVotes have confirmed my reporting on a Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu match being put together to potentially replace Solo Sikoa versus Roman Reigns from WrestleMania. The third Tribal Chief story, as I've mentioned previously, is already fully in play. And I do find it very interesting that WrestleVotes, the day after, literally, the day after I reported it during Spoiler Warning, this news popped up. The day after. Funny how often that happens. Now, I know there are people who watch this show, go into the discords of other channels and say, for example, Tom Colouhue's reported this. What do you think? Usually, it's aggressive on the other side. But I know someone took my report about Ronda Rousey to the Fightful Discord. And I know that Fightful Discord eventually resulted in reporting behind the Fightful paywall stating that Ronda Rousey's coming back. And my name wasn't mentioned, and I will not be forgetting quickly. Blue says, "Nah, Tom, Dave just has new excuses for everything with AEW, which is so unnecessary. They're fine, but Dave spends too much time fighting with trolls online." Yeah, I've got him blocked. I think it was the right move. I don't use Twitter now anyway. Tricky says, "I saw Asuka is doing better. She's waiting for her to return when she's ready." Cal says, "Jacob Fatu looked like he was going to straight up kill Solo last week." Eric says, "When do you see Aleister Black returning, and is he in Judgment Day?" I've covered that on Monday's show, on Friday's show, and the Monday show before. Calvin says, "Who do you think should host WrestleMania?" I think there's potential for Alexa Bliss to do it, and that's how we get to Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross. But I think Nikki Bella is also worth mentioning at this point, and there's others. Bad Bunny would be a good shout. I think that's worth saying. Cal says, "Did you expect Jacob to become so popular so fast?" Yeah. I told you guys. Thank you, Cal. Appreciate you for that. Ashley says, "Does WWE have a working relationship with Marigold, or was Io appearing there just a one-off?" WWE and Marigold are in bed together. I reported at the time that Marigold was launched that WWE were essentially in meetings with both representatives of TNA and representatives of the company that would become Marigold. It's funny because Ibu wrestling purists laughed at my report, and then it was proven right the next day. Always love that. Azrael says, for a pitch, Randy Orton dethrones Cody, drops the belt to Bron Breakker or over Femi when he is called up. Trekkipedia says, "Do you think they'll bring back the Warrior Award?" No. And Cal says, "I don't know why I can see DIY losing the belt tonight." One says, "Recently, since AEW scaled to smaller arenas, the quality is improved and the house is full, yet fans still hate the move up small arenas. Like, why?" Now, I did say quite a while back, when there was a lot of concern about empty arenas, that AEW needed to bite the bullet and downsize. They did that. We don't hear about empty arenas anymore. Perception is important. Cal says, "Do you see the Wyatts going back to Miz?" No. Wyatts are distracted. They saw a shiny thing and couldn't take their eyes off it. Sometimes neither can I. Rickan says, "Do you think Solo finds his way back to Roman after being kicked out of Bloodline 2.0? Anything can happen eventually." And Eric says, "How would you not save but help Finn Balor? Let him win some matches. I think that would be a very good start." My final piece of news as regards Zack Sabre Jr. Zack Sabre Jr. is the best wrestler in the world. A lot of people might not believe me, then they'll watch Zack Sabre Jr. wrestle and realise that Zack Sabre Jr. is the best wrestler in the world. He's also currently wrestling for New Japan Pro Wrestling without a contract. He's working on a handshake deal while a new deal is negotiated. Despite major interest from the WWE, it's believed that he's interested in a move to AEW. Having worked there previously and made a number of appearances, he believes there would be a strong push for him there, and he believes working with someone like, for example, MJF or Adam Cole would really enhance his career. So, New Japan have offered him a very expensive deal to stay. However, that's very expensive by New Japan standards. By AEW standards, it's a pittance. I think there's a high probability that Zack Sabre Jr. is going to AEW. Spiderball says, "It surprised me Zack Sabre Jr. lost the IWGP title so quick. This might be why." And Calvin says, "A lot of people don't give the Bella Twins enough credit. Broke down so many barriers and are trailblazers. It's mostly because they took a stand for women in not just WWE, but wrestling, period." Cal says, "I do hope we see Adam Cole back in the WWE one day with Triple H being the head. It makes sense. Triple H wants it. Adam Cole has turned him down before." We are going to wrap up there. We've been live for 45 minutes. We peaked at a tremendous 116 viewers. We've been live on YouTube and, of course, also on TikTok. I do just want to confirm at the moment there are a few changes that are continuing to be coming through the show, the channel at the minute for the YouTube side. We are monetized once again. You all should have gotten an ad when you first joined. There's also a few other things we've got in the pipeline. Primarily, there will be videos returning. We spoke recently about a wrestling receipt, so like a wrestling breakdown of everything that has been reported that month, a lot of which of, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and basically keeping track of everyone's individual score and percentage so that you know what outlets you can trust. I think that's worth considering. We'll see how it goes from there and see what we can put together. But in the meantime, I will say, as usual, I've been Tom Colohue, you've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.